Hello, everyone. I'm just laughing about the day, honestly. Ha! Hello, Joe and Jackie. Hello, Anna. So we are really in the midst of getting hot and cold, of what can only be called the resurrection energies, the reset energies, the this movement through this time. And so really thinking about how the celebration of this Easter time is all about renewal and regenesis, and this is what we're in. So a lot of I feel like I've crashed my own energy system this morning, really. Anyway, way too many things to fit in. So I have done some writing and done some tuning in early this morning, and I haven't got to the bottom of this yet, but early this morning I saw in the sky this kind of a shape. It had what would it be called? Parallelogram, I think. It's like a rectangle that's been leaned on its side. So it looked like that. It had that shape. And when I asked what it was, I got shown it's the new monadic form. So I'll just leave that with you because I have, so my day today has been at the gym and then writing and then a client and then trying to organise some other things. And then I've got another client before I head off to do other things for Easter. But I really wanted to talk to you just briefly about what's going on. So during this time, remember that we are in what Gaia has called these purification energies. They're highly refined. They're these heavenly energies of regenesis. They're coming through. So they came through on the 4th in a powerful way, and they are building. They're building to be like a flooding of these energies on the 11th. So these are the energies of the divine and holy breath, and they hold these heavenly codes. They hold energies that have never come to the earth before, and they are cranking it up, really. So we are going to witness around us probably explosion of energies, and that might show up in a number of ways. I mean, that might show up in our earth as volcanoes or as little earthquakes or as expansion. So we are going through expansion on one end of the spectrum and explosion on the other. Really thinking about being in this spectrum for humanity. It's the squeeze for awakening. It's the preparation for ascension. And so those of us who have done the work will find this path rather beautiful and blissful, as though we are in those lovely high frequency angelic codes of bliss. It's the blessings and the blessings. But those who are not, they are going to feel it like they are being strangled by the energies, really squeezed, and their shite is going to come up. And that shite may well come up in anything from fear to anger to rage. And so be mindful in the world. That's what I would say. Be in your world, in your own world. So let me just share with you some notes that I've collected. and written today, and lots of remembering. That's interesting. I've written remember, 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 remember. So this is Gaia speaking to me. So she is saying these. Well, let me just see what else is here for a moment. So I just remind you that all of humanity will be feeling the effects of this purification process, which may show up in those around you and family and friends in many different ways, from resistance to withdrawal to fear, anger, and temper tantrums. So these pillars of light, this light that's these light occurrences, is how Gaia described it, are being commonly experienced on the earth now. So you will no doubt be noticing that there are lots of beautiful photographs of pillars of light, of spectrums of light, of sunsets and of sunrises and of moonlight and of the aurora kind of experiences. In the little place that I grew up, this beautiful beach, I noticed that someone who was visiting there had posted this photograph of the moon last night, and was golden, and it had this ring around it, quite spectacular. So that's from my home beach. And yeah, amazing. So Gaia is saying, this is sort of, you can see we're in this enlightening, in this illumination, and it's happening on a planetary basis and for us. And so, yeah, here are the rememberings. So this rainbow plasma light delivering the codes to all for expanded consciousness at the level at which you have reached. But it, of course, will be a stretch, right? So this spectrum, those at the beginning will be feeling a bit poked and prodded and maybe in perhaps pain, having that experience of being in pain, and all of us may experience that in parts of our body where we've still got clearing to do. So just see it as the work. It's part of the process of our moving to clarity, to enlightenment, to illumination. And this includes, so this expansion of consciousness, it includes this movement as plants and as planet into part of the galaxy with this absolute saturation of photonic light. So this is where we are in now. We're in the edges of the saturation of photonic light. Remember that the deep dark end of the spectrum cannot come to the fifth, so that's showing up. So that's showing up on a planetary basis and a sort of social basis, and in individuals. I'm just realizing I hadn't set up properly in here. Remember that the deep dark end of the spectrum cannot come to the fifth dimension, that it cannot move beyond the fourth, that it can't hold itself together in a structural form when the energies and frequencies are heightened to fifth dimensional. And we're in the edges of the saturation of that. We're moving more and more into the saturation of that in this portal, or in this window, or in this corridor between the 4th and the 11th. So the 4th of April and the 11th of April, that's how Gaia has spoken about it. This portal that increases in this light that comes in. Remember that we are in this movement, the spectrum of movement for humanity that involves reset, regeneration, and resurrection. So you may feel all of that. Everyone will feel it in a different way. You may feel it as an unraveling. You may feel it as pains leaving from a time. This time in our world has been significant through the history of time and through the history of soul. Remember that the veil is lifted and that reality is shifting, and then this enables more truth to be seen within self and within others. Good morning, Rebecca and Golden, and hello, Billy, and good morning, Amanda. And yes, feeling lighter. Yeah, that is right. That is right, Amanda. The energies, because they're not lighter for everybody, but they are lighter for those of us who have done and are a bit more conscious. They definitely, I mentioned at the beginning, that they're bringing in the blessings and the blessings or the feelings of that. So Jackie has written, the second decan of Aries is exalted, the sun in time of Christos. I don't understand what second decan means, but I can be in the sentiment of that. So we really are in this time of the Christed light, or the middle of the sign. Okay, thank you. So this, our reality is shifting and we are able to see more clearly. So we're able to see more clearly the truth of what's going on around us, the truth within self and the truth in others. And this is happening for everybody. It's going to be like looking in the mirror for everybody to a greater or lesser extent. And so everybody on the spectrum. So some people being poked, just beginning to look at that, they'll be feeling a bit frightened. Because will be bringing a lot of uncertainty in their world. What is going on in the world? It doesn't feel safe, it doesn't feel stable, all of those kinds of feelings. Strange trumpet sounds in the sky in Australia and the US. Ooh, that's cool. So, they might be clarion calls or they might be technological interference to create some fear. So we're going to see it on all levels and in all ways because of that thing I said before. So the dark end, this deep dark end of the spectrum, those beings are in the scrambling for their existence. So they know that when we tip into fifth dimension as a planet, that they cannot exist because they cannot hold themselves in a frequency beyond the fourth. So they're going to be throwing everything at us that they possibly can. And what we have to do is create our own reality by being stabilized in our own center and be creating our own reality. So stay in center, stay in balance, stay in love and joy. Also, remember that the more we shift into this fifth dimensional saturation, the more we will watch the enlivenment of nature, including the return of some ancient plants and ancient insects. That will be the first, and new, Gaia said. So these are just some of the things that we're going to be witnessing over this time. The enlivenment of nature, including the return of old and the emergence of new species, starting with plants and insects. And remember that this assists the ability to see the truth and to be in this witnessing the dissolution of the old ways of being, thinking, operating, relating, communicating, and the dissolution of time will begin beginning to show up for more people, even though a lot of us have already been in the midst of that. And I think it was last year that Gaia talked about the three-dimensional time beginning to be in dissolution, and that we're watching the dissolution of the old through everything. So through structure and systems, we're already watching this crumbling in a very physical, public manner. Even if we're not being shown all of it, there's more of it going on. And I heard somebody say that 167, I think it was, but let's say 160, that 160 central banks have collapsed, not the two that the world knows about. 160, not your little corner bank, central banks, 160 central banks. So this is all in alignment with what Gaia has spoken about, this economic collapse in the midst of April, but it actually began earlier, didn't it? Because we heard about some of it in March. So this is the beginning, and it can be a bit scary if we look at it from that lower dimensional point of view. So we really have to look at it from the higher. So go to the higher. What does this bring us? This brings us the ability to not be held in the matrix. As time dissolves and these old structures dissolve, it gives us freedom to create the new. Remember, I have to go back here to where did I get to? Remember that this first wave of awakened souls hold a space of light, a level of consciousness, a space of love that enables others to awaken more quickly. Remember, we talked about that a while ago, this idea that we are the engineers, we are the architects, we are the forerunners, we are the trailblazers, we are the, we're cutting the path. We are out there with our machetes, cutting the path through the jungle, and then everyone can follow more easily. We are imprinting in the universe, we are imprinting in humanity, we are imprinting on the planet this ability to be highly awakened, enlivened, and conscious. And this enables everyone else to do it more quickly. Remember, I spoke about something that Gaia had said about how when we have this wave of energy come through, that many people will be awakened in that moment. And so they will be, they will go from like being asleep to being woohoo, all in one moment, in one breath, in one wash of light. And so we need to see that as really powerful. Even though some of us have been on this journey for a long, long time. So remember that this 1111 portal holds a frequency vibration. That is a possibility for this to happen for many. And more of this coming now. So we're on the edges of it. And so I just wanted to come in because I've got a ridiculously busy day, and I am depending on what happens, but I may or may not be around here. So I just wanted to let you know that, and to wish you a beautiful long weekend, and to celebrate this Christed consciousness that we are in the midst of receiving more of, to stay safe, to be in your beautiful open hearts, to radiate that out for the rest of humanity, to feel these waves, these waves of love, these waves of light and illumination, these waves of healing as well. So be compassionate, and be in your hearts and witness and observe what goes on for self and around you. And I wish you much love, and I wish you a beautiful long weekend in celebration of this time. So thank you. Bye.